thrilling matchups in this round. And you know, Jeremy, nowadays we've got so many of these big tournaments. There are more and more players now who are of a high profile. So inevitably, once you get to this stage of a tournament, you're going to see more matches like this, where they're both very recognizable names to the general public.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, all the work that Matchroom's done is kind of unfolding now as we see it. And, you know, all the great players around the world want to be at these big events. And that's why we're seeing such quality matches early in the event.
This is winners' qualification round. There are still matches going on in round 3 on the loser side, so we'll keep you up to date on developments in both of those rounds. But straight into the action, Jayson Shaw gets things underway.
Yeah, and this is the position you want to be in. Winning your first 2, you only have to win 1 out of the next 2 matches to move on. Of course, you want to win it now. Take no chances and better your position percentage-wise when it gets to the single elimination.
Well, that's it, isn't it? If you go through as a winner, you take most of the big names out of play in terms of who you might then face in the last 64. And of course, it's all very well saying you've got a second chance if you lose this one, but you might lose that one as well. So we'll be thinking about the safety net, all in, trying to win it and get through to tomorrow's play.
Yeah, that conversation's for us to talk about. These players are trying to go undefeated. And there will be some of those top names coming from the one-loss side in the single elimination, facing some of the undefeated players, but you got to figure those numbers will be small as far as, you know, the real top shelf players, the top seeds. You wouldn't say it was a bad miss, maybe a little guarding against the miss, but I think he got the snooker here. It's close.
Jayson Shaw from Scotland, based in the US now, ranked number 5 in the world.
Yeah, and doesn't get enough credit on that end of the game. For me, maybe just because, you know, when he first came to Nineball pool, that's where he really lacked the tactical side. And when people recognize that, those kind of reputations kind of linger, I think, and maybe in some of the fans' eyes don't recognize how much better he's gotten on that end.
It's strange in a way, isn't it, that he struggled tactically at first, because he had come from a snooker background where you've got to have tactical ability. But then again, it's a different sort of tactical game.
Yeah, it sure is. And, you know, there's, you know, all cue sports, there's going to be standard ways to do things. But, you know, anytime you play a game where balls get put back on a spot, right, they're going to be even more standard. There's just going to be more repeating safeties. And like I always say in 9-ball pool, how amazing these players are, because you can't practice or set up all the situations. You really have to go with your gut and how you've trained. Now this is going to hurt here, I'll tell you that.
Johann Chua still on a high, no doubt, after winning the World Cup of Pool with the Philippines last month. A record 4th win for that country.
Yeah, struggled right here on this table in his opener against Roman Heibler. Of course, Roman played a very, very good set to get to the heel and let a couple little opportunities go away. And Johann kind of woke up towards the end, taking that down after trailing, I believe, 8-4 in that race to 9. Didn't get to see his second match, but I'm sure he improved.
Well, that was actually his second match. He'd played Graham Hamilton first, British player.
Yeah, that's correct. He wants a little angle, which, of course, he won't force it now, being straight. We all saw what he did at the World Cup. Does not mind a difficult shot. And that will be a difficult shot, not only on this purple, but on the next, the green 6. Well, he stunned it nicely, and you'll learn something there. A lot of players would think, or people would think, why didn't he stop and get a little heavier hit? Well, that's just a little more awkward for the players. They'd like to have a little more defined cut here. It's nothing too extreme, but it also works the cue ball back a couple rails.
You know, you're talking there about how he would expect to improve as the tournament goes on. Wasn't at his best in that match against Hibbler that you were talking about. And I'm sure you're the same. I'm a big believer in any sport, really, that early round form is irrelevant as long as you're getting through. And it can work the other way as well, as he knows only too well. At the Spanish Open, he played so well to beat Joshua Filler 9-1. Still ended up going out in the last 64 against Gangflow.
Yeah, what a tournament Gangflow had, who actually went on to knock out Josh Filler in that event as well. And, you know, it's one thing, it's just a matter, you don't want it to be a repeating kind of thing, you know, like Skyler, we talked about with him a lot of times, you know, 2 semifinals in the last 2, 256-man events from Matchroom. But you still don't want to start off losing your first match or second or struggling, you know, on a consistent basis.
Yeah, it was Chua who sent Filler to the loser's side. And Gangflow then knocked him out later in the tournament. So the scratch was expensive for Jayson Shaw. Johann Chua has taken the opening rack here in this winner's qualification match. So let's see what else is going on in this round. A number of matches already some way down the line, including Wojciech Szewczyk, who's leading Georgi Georgiev 4-0. Alban Ocean, defending champion, has taken the first couple of racks against Hunter Lombardo. Ko Pin-Yi, World Masters winner this year, has won the first against Omar Al-Shaheen. Mateusz Sniagotsky, who did so well here last year, leads Naoki Oi 3-2. It's 2-2 between Alexa Peixelge and Petri Makinen. Max Lechner flying along at 5-1 up on Italy's Francesco Candela. British veteran Imran Majid leads Dennis Graba 3-2. Fedor Gorst has won the first couple of racks against Radoslav Babica. Dimitris Lukatos 4-3 ahead of former world champion Niels Fayen. Mieszko Fortunsky and Thomas Kaplan level at 1-1. Antonius Kakaris has won the first rack against Wu Kun Lin. And Joshua Filler, home country favourite, 4-1 up against Karol Skawersky.
Yeah, didn't get to watch a ton of the first match, the last 4 or 5 games here on this table. And day 3, day 1, it broke very difficult. Day 2, it seemed to change and broke very well. And now a dry break from Johann, who had a few against Hibbler just a couple days ago.
Just going to keep you posted on some of the scores on the losers' side as well. Billy Thorpe 3-0 down against Adam Stankovic. John Mora has a 3-1 lead over Roberto Bartol. And Ko Ping Han 4-3 up on JJ Fall. Ko Ping Chung, winner of a big tournament recently, leading Claudio Cacci 5-2.
Good to hear big brother getting out of the hospital. Back home. It's going to be a little bit of a long recovery, but it's always best to be at home.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a terrible accident Eklund Cacci was involved in, and well, obviously it's always going to be bad timing for that, but particularly so for him, given that he'd found so much consistency over the last few months, which has not always been present in his career. Main thing is, he's on the road to recovery, although I do understand it's going to be a long road.
Yeah, and knowing him, just likes to persevere so much, and knowing him, he'll come back better. And I don't think that consistency you were talking about is going to go anywhere for a long time. He's just matured as a man, as a player, and definitely one of the best in the business.
Yeah, World Masters finalist and then UK Open winner, and of course he would have been itching to build on that. But plenty of time for him.
And a big shot here if he takes it on, not only to get on the board, probably on the breaking end, but some confidence as well. Going into the 7 with the cue ball. He went by the 7. Missed the pink anyways.
Johann Chua, 31 years of age. He's been around for some time. He was a World Championship quarter-finalist as long ago as 2014. Won a big event the next year, the All Japan Championship. Not an easy one to win. He's won it a couple of times now, in fact.
You know, so much noise about so many great matches in this round. You know, of course, on the qualification side, but also on the one-loss side, more of those coming as the day goes on. But it's just sweet to see. I love it. You know, I think our events are showing us how deep the field is. Of course, Dang winning that event in Spain, but also Bijsterbosch, Labutis getting there.
Look at the next match, Van Boning against Aranis. Aranis has arguably been more high profile this year than Van Boning.
Yeah, Shane, but Shane's played really well. It's just like a lot of matches last year. You could say a little bit of the pool gods weren't on his side. And he knows how it is.
You were at that tournament in Iowa, weren't you, a few weeks ago that he won? How did he play there?
No, he played fabulous, and you know, he's real comfortable there as well. He's always had a good record, and he knows those matches. He was taking them like, you know, I'm gearing up for something better, something bigger, and of course the European Open was first on the menu.
Yeah, he was runner-up last year. Meanwhile, back on the main table now. A dry break gave Jayson Shaw a chance to level. Wasn't able to see it through. And Johann Chua leads 2-0. Albin Ocean has added another rack and is now 3-0 up on Hunter Lombardo. 5-0 now for Wojciech Szewczyk against Georgi Georgiev. Kopenier has a 3-0 lead over Omar Al-Shaheen. This is over on table 2, Moritz Neuhausen and Aloysius Yap. Just getting underway in their match. Max Lechner 5-1 up on Francesco Candela. Dimitris Lukatos has a 5-3 lead now over Niels Fayen. Neuhausen was just so impressive in that World Cup. It wasn't a case at all of Filler dominating and Neuhausen on his coattails. He played his part.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you really look the entire tournament over and what Moritz had to deal with, big setting, playing with one of the world's best, right? That can certainly make you nervous. Maybe he'll end up as Germany's best player ever. Josh Filler, who knows? But very impressed with what Moritz did there in Spain.
2-0 here to Chua.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't expect another dry break, at least not consecutive dry breaks. And if you look at that, you could see he really unloaded on it. And I was talking with Skylar yesterday, and I just think no matter what type of breaker you are with this format, you know, some play it differently. Most of them do have the cut break of some sort. I think every player has to try and start developing the harder cut break. They may not use it this tournament, may not use it next tournament, but you have to start getting to where you're comfortable with that. It seems like the players that are winning the events have that, you know, in their arsenal. Yeah, he's got options to play safe here, but we know he doesn't like to. Wow.
Even Jayson Shaw applauding that. Just going back to the break there, the 9 wasn't a million miles away from going in the side. I've not seen a golden break yet, which is unusual when you're into day 3. Have you seen any?
I thought we had one, but we had many that came close to the side pocket. But yeah, I think it was the Whirlpool Masters. Everyone was a little worried about a few 9s going in on the break, and it's going to be every so often you have a run like that, but it's not going to be many. Got a little flat here. He's got so much power, he should be able to stun to the rail and up for the purple. Well, he may have to draw the ball underneath the 7 and back out.
going to be fascinating to see now on the back of that World Cup success, whether Chua can take that confidence and step up to the next level in individual tournaments.
Well, I think what helped him at the World Cup and what's going to help him continue to improve in these bigger settings, and just kind of mainly getting better mentally with the nerves and whatnot. We know what the game is, but he kind of did it his way. He didn't back down from the moment, took on all the hard shots. So I think for him and his counterpart, or his teammate in that tournament, I think it's going to bode very well for both of them. And I think it's going to make James, a little more of the aggressive that I believe he has in him.
All in all, this has been a pretty impressive start from Johann Chua. He's taken this rack very well. Needed to bring a couple of good shots along the way, particularly early on. And that's a quick kill. So 3-0 for Johann Chua. So just a reminder of what we saw earlier. Low host sum, 6-1 up against Khalid Al-Ghamdi. Just got home at 8-7. Johann Chua off to a flyer here. And then we're going to be seeing James Aranis, who you were just talking about a moment ago, JJ, up against Shane Van Boning. And of course, if you want to find SVB at a venue, generally, you'll find them on the practice tables. Either that or in a restaurant somewhere with you, Jeremy, discussing tactics about how he's going to conquer the world. He just works so hard at the game, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. And, now I think he's at the point where he kind of schedules that hard training, where it seemed like before it was a little more constant. Now it's a little more concentrated, but very effective. And he's been running a lot, lost a few pounds, feeling good, and really preparing for this heavy fall coming up of a lot of 9-ball pool.
Including his bid for a tie-breaking record 6th US Open here at the European Open. Chance for Jayson Shaw to stop Johann Chua in his tracks. Is that a new thing for Shane, running, or is it something he's been on and off with in the past?
Oh yeah, definitely on and off with it in the past. That's more of his, I think he did lift a few weights at one time. Nothing crazy, but it was more the cardio and the running. And pulling in them big fish. I guess that's the other workout he gets. All right, a little funny here. The 8's a big ball, and he's a little off angle on the 3. He could roll it in and take the cut on the pink, and I wouldn't blame that decision at all. Kind of lean on your skills. Oh, did he hold it enough? Don't think the 8's a problem.
It's been a tale of two different sets of tournaments for Jayson Shaw this year. Some of the smaller tournaments he's been doing very well. Won the Turning Stone Classic again. I think pretty soon they're just going to start giving him the trophy as soon as he turns up there. Also won the Scottish Open, small event in May, but pretty strong field. Beat Victor Zielinski in the final. And he was also runner-up in the Premier League, beaten by Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. But when it's come to events like this, it's not been a good year for him. Went out in the last 32 of World Championship, UK Open and Spanish Open. Only won one rack in the World Masters.
Well, you and I talked about it, prior to the match. I think a few of those losses, he let a little frustration set in, and, even as keen a mind and as great a talent as he is, if that continues, it's always going to cost you a few games here and there, and that's just not very affordable at this level.
Well, it was the scratch that cost Johann Chua in that one, so Jayson Shaw gets one on the board. It's 3-1. Elsewhere in this round, Hunter Lombardo has registered his first rack and also trails 3-1 against Alban Ocean. Duan Kwok-Wang has won the first couple against Daniel Maciol. Wojciech Szewczyk now 6-0 up on Georgi Georgiev. Spanish Open runner-up Mark Bijsterbosch level at 1-1 with Andrei Ionescu. Kopinyi 3-0 up on Omar Al-Shaheen. Mateusz Niagotsky leading Naoki Oi 4-2. Alexa Pechelge up by the same score against Petri Makinen. Max Lechner 5-2 against Francesco Candela. Moritz Neuhausen, who we saw a few moments ago on table 2, has taken the first 2 against Aloysius Yap. 3-3 between Dennis Graber and Imran Majid. Fedor Gorst is 3-1 up on Radoslav Babika. Dimitris Lukatos leading 5-3 over Niels Fayen. Mieszko Fortunski just ahead of Thomas Kaplan at 3-2. Joshua Filler 5-2 up now on Karol Skaversky. And Wu Kunlin and Antonius Kakaris have shared the first couple of racks in their match. Shaw breaking, 3-1 down.
Yeah, and this table seems like it's been a little Jekyll and Hyde with the break shot from day to day. Shaw's first break, a dry one. Does have a look at the 1. Don't know if the 1-3 is really playable, and if it is, it looks very difficult to a portion of the pocket by the blue 2. Now this is where you may look to run the ball. If you feel like you can control the 1, may run off the right side of it. Could play the kiss shot on the 2 off the left side of the 1 if you wanted to go offensive. It's not sitting that bad, especially for a tight pocket up there. This is the shot I initially said. If you can cut the 1 by the 3 and run the cue ball, that's the shot I like. Yeah, I like that. You have so much cover with the 4, 8, 9. You have a little cover with the 5 as well. I think this cue ball leaked out a little bit. May go for this long rail bank to the lower right corner.
Keeping an eye on the losers round. Not good news for your compatriot Billy Thorpe. JJ, he's 5-0 down now against Adam Stankovic. John Morra leading Roberto Bartol 4-2. Ko Ping Han just ahead of JJ Fall at 5-4. And Cledio Okachi is hanging on well against Ko Ping Chung. He's only 1 behind now at 5-4.
Yeah, I think the opening rack kind of set the tone when Billy made a great out. Shot I believe the 8 to get on the 9 and got on top of the 9, played a nice safety, and his opponent made an incredible long rail bank, then broke and ran. So kind of a slow start for Billy over there, and didn't have his best last night, but did get that win. And this is the exact kind of situation where this kind of, when a player kicked out of it 2 or 3 times against Jayson at times this year, he started to get a little frustrated behind it, and just got to realize you're going to have spells where these great players kick out of a lot of safeties, and just got to keep grinding. This may end up on the 1-2. We'll see. Not going to be happy there.
Looks like he's off for a round of golf after this.
Yeah, I don't know if he played on his day off. He told me he might. But. Okay. Does have the cut shot to the upper left. Which direction is the cue ball running? And I think he's going by the purple here, so. Got to figure out where the position is. Maybe he thinks he can get into the purple to hold the cue ball for the red 3. And I thought that was going to be difficult. Definitely a tester. Of course, the pockets, 4-inch pockets, and we're on day 3, so they've broken in a little bit. Nice long shot on the 3 there. A little stretch here on the pink 4. Going away from the ball a little bit. And when you're stretching, it's kind of hard to get through the ball with a high English, so he may stun this 2 rails like that.
That's always the thing with Jayson Shaw, isn't it, JJ? Even when he's got a really good chance like that, he's in a good position to win the rack. You never feel entirely comfortable he's not going to do something like that on you.
Yeah, you don't expect it. It's been a little more of a trend, I think, this year for him, but it's just, you know, you got to believe it's a little more between the ears than anything else.
I know he was talking to Carl and said to him that he knows in the past sometimes he's come to events of this nature and been a bit negative and felt things have gone against him, and he's trying to take a different approach this time.
Yeah, he and I have talked the last couple of days and just, you know, offering a little friendly advice at times. Just, you know, big fan of Jayson and love watching him play and succeed and whatnot. But I think again what you just leaned on right there, it's just a little bit, you know, a little more perspective, I think, or better perspective, I think, is going to bode very well for him. And it's early in this match, so we'll see.
Jayson Shaw fairly quickly found himself 3-0 down in this match. And a great chance to get back to only 1 behind. But his unexpected miss has allowed Johann Chua to restore the 3-rack gap. It's 4-1. Max Lechner, who knocked Johann Chua out of the World Championship earlier this year, leads Francesco Candela 6-2. Alban Ocean, the holder, going well at 4-1 against Hunter Lombardo. Wojciech Szewczyk 7-0 up on Georgi Georgiev. Duan Kok Hwang leading Daniel Maciol 2-1. Mark Bijsterbosch going well at 3-1 against Andrei Ionescu. Ko Pinyi leading 3-1 against Omar El Shaheen. Mateusz Sniagotsky is a 6-2 lead over Naoki Oi. Alexa Pechelge now 5-2 in front of Petri Makinen. Moritz Neuhausen has added another rack and leads Aloysius Yap 3-0. Imran Majid just ahead of Dennis Graba at 4-3. Fedor Gorst 1 in front as well against Radoslav Babika, that's 3-2. Niels Fine has got it back to 5-4 down against Dimitris Lukatos. Mieszko Fortunski leads Thomas Kaplan 5-2. in the all-Polish encounter. Antonius Kakaris has won the third rack to go 2-1 in front of Wu Kun Lin. And Joshua Filler now has a 6-2 lead against Karol Skawersky. Remember, all of those matches in winners' qualification come through this round, and they're definitely back tomorrow for the last 64.
Yeah, and this is the scary thing about playing any of these guys, but especially Johann and a few others. The way they break the balls, you make a mistake, getting to where you could have been one game back and breaking yourself, and could it get exponentially worse before Jayson gets back to the table.
Such an eventful ride to World Cup glory for the Philippines team of Chua and James Aranas in Spain just a few weeks ago. As the host nation, Spain were entitled to have two teams. The Philippines took care of them both in the first two rounds and came through hill finishes against both Chinese Taipei and Austria. And then Germany only charged back at them in the final. The Philippines held on for an 11-7 win.
Yeah, it's amazing how great every event's been, and I think maybe the World Cup has taken the cake for what we've seen this year. The Spanish crowd was great. The players were incredible, so much drama.
And I think it showcases how many countries are capable of putting forward a decent team, and the format is just spot on. I think that race to 7 early on, it's long enough to be a credible test, but also short enough that it lends itself to quite a few upsets along the way. So I think everything about that event is just absolutely ideal.
Yeah, you got to play one round of that, and maybe 2 rounds actually, but
yeah, first 2 rounds.
First 2 rounds, yeah, that's right. And yeah, we've seen maybe not a variety of winning teams. We have had a variety through the years, but definitely we've had a vast variety of semifinalists in that event, and teams that were underdogs making a big charge and some names for themselves.
The most obvious example, Slovakia, who were massive outsiders, beat the holders in the first round and got to the semis. So this is going to be the second break and run of the match already for Johann Chua. He's really extracting full price out of Jayson Shaw for the Scots miss in the previous rack. Johann Chua now pulling away at 5-1. It's also 5-1 for Alban Ocean against Hunter Lombardo. Duan Kwa Kwang and Daniel Maciol level at 2-all. Ko Pinyi now 4-1 in front of Omar El-Shaheen. Mateusz Sniagotsky, quarter-finalist last year, has a 6-2 lead against Naoki Oi. Now this is what's coming up next month, the last 6 days of September, the US Open. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz there to defend his title. Shane Van Boening looking to finally claim the record all for himself by winning number 6. Won't be long after that, we're off to Vietnam for the Asian Open. Such a strong field and prospect there. And we'll be in Hanoi from the 10th of October. And of course, all roads lead to Alexandra Palace in North London from the 6th of December, the Mosconi Cup, Europe going for 4 in a row. And we will have some big announcements about the captaincy before this week is out. 5-1 Chua. Well, just when we were talking about a lack of golden breaks this week, that happens.
Yeah, me being a pool player, a former player anyways, and I was trying to see if he had a shot on the 2, not even recognizing the 9 went in. And I think that's another reason why the firm break, you have to develop it.
Well, always worth another look when you get the golden break, particularly this week when, as we've said, they've been pretty rare. Really now, he's starting to see the winning line come into view. 6-1 already. We didn't see this coming.
Fun to watch Johann break as well. Just kind of watch his body. It's almost like a youngster trying to put everything he has into it. Kind of throws the shoulder, gets the head moving a little bit.
2 in a row. From golden to dry.
Yeah, and Jayson, of course, this match, he needs it now, and it's a very difficult one, even though close. I think it does play on the side and then a 2-4 combination, but, you know, you don't think like this, but you have to just kind of train yourself, no matter the deficit, no matter how it looks like. You're playing not only to win this, but, you know, to keep yourself with that confidence moving forward if you have to win another match to qualify for that final 64. And I think that's some of those frustrations that lingered as he really didn't let it go in one match and it went on into some others. I think this does play, though. Won't have an easy shot on the next, but probably a little easier than this one ball, the 2-4 combo. May have to shoot it from near the rail with the cue ball. Aloysius Yap finally on the board. And if you're wanting to watch that, that's the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel. Now trailing 3-1 against Moritz Neuhausen.
Billy Thorpe is staging a bit of a revival on the loser's side. Back to 5-2 down now against Adam Stankovic. And Claudio Cacci has been beating some big names of late. A couple of racks away from beating another one because he leads Ko Ping Chung 6-5. Ko coming in here, of course, having just had a big win.
Well, if you got to watch him in Spain, he really impressed. Cacci did, and he's another one that can smash the ball. So I think a little easier to make those comebacks. What did he trail 5-2 in that match?
What, in the match at the moment?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was, yeah.
5-2, 5-3.
Certainly in front now.
A little bit light with the safety there from Jayson. May end up okay. Still made things very difficult. I mean, did this ball get onto the pink here? That would kind of be amazing. The problem is it's very difficult not only maybe to make the one, but to get some type of position on the 2 or the 2-4 combo.
The body language isn't encouraging there. I think we're seeing a bit of that negativity coming out again.
And again, like I said before, that's maybe the biggest point. I think when it starts, it seems to stay, and not only on one match, it maybe lingers into more. And Jayson's definitely, I mean, I've seen him make so many comebacks in big events, U.S. Open, International, and against great players. He's just got to bear down, getting to break the balls and see if he can get himself going.
Currently in 4th place in the European Mosconi Cup standings. 3 will qualify automatically. We know Francisco Sanchez Ruiz will definitely be one of those. Of course, it could be a case that Shaw is effectively in 3rd place because Eklund Cacci, who's 2nd at the moment, may not be back in time for that.
Yeah, unfortunate. Unfortunate all the way around, and certainly, you know, not the way you want to move up in the rankings at all, but it is a consideration. But the main thing for Jayson, again, he's got to set all that aside. He's just got to, you know, get back to doing what he does, and it's a very confident player.
was full of negativity in his body language, as we said, when he came to the table. And he leaves the table at the end of the rack, having won it. Johann Chua's lead trimmed a little to 6-2. Hunter Lombardo was battling well against Albin Ocean. He's got it back to 5-3 down now. Wojciech Szewczyk is on the hill at 8-0 against Georgi Georgiev. Daniel Maciol 4-2 up against Wong Kwok Hwang. Mark Bijsterbosch leading by the same score against Andrei Ionescu. Also 4-2 for Ko Pin-Yi over Omar Al-Shaheen. Mateusz Sniagotsky, quarter-finalist last year, a couple of racks away from single elimination. He leads Naoki Oi 7-2. Lucius Yap has got another one back, so he's 3-2 down against Moritz Neuhausen. Radoslav Babika has drawn level at 3-3 with Fedor Gorst. Dimitris Loukatos, who got within a couple of racks of the UK Open semi-finals earlier in the year, 6-4 up on Niels Feyen. And Mieszko Fortuński going well, 7-2 now over Thomas Kaplan. Joshua Filler on the hill at 8-2 against Karol Skawersky. Shaw 6-2 down.
Yeah, he knows that wasn't his best strike on the rack there, and didn't take him long to recognize he was going to be leaving the table and giving up a nice starter to Johann Chua with a 6-2 lead.
3 breaks from Shaw so far in this match, 2 of them dry.
Yeah, you can see a difficult 8-ball, but possibly an 8 he doesn't have to deal with because of a 6-9 that will open up later in the rack. Really, the key is the position on the 2 to get to the 3. That's what opens everything up. And he's going to be just fine, actually pretty perfect, a natural angle. He can just draw the ball. Just draw down the right side of the table here. Should maybe catch the rail. Probably does. So we'll see here shortly if he wants to deal with that 8-ball at all. 6-9 isn't lined up, you know, as a cold-blooded hanger, but definitely one you fancy to make if you get decent position. I think that's what he's got. Well, I don't know. He's got a bit of an angle here, but I think he has a choice. He can draw up the right side rail, or he could stun across. Now sizing up the 8.
You've been to the Philippines, JJ. How big a deal will it have been back in that country when Chua and Aranis won the World Cup a few weeks ago?
Massive. I mean, I'm not a football guy, you know, as far as soccer I'm talking about, but it'd be as big as, you know, any of those cities, right, that have been around for so long, those long teams, and how traditional it is for them with the soccer and getting whatever it is, the Premier League or Championship, or maybe even bigger, actually. And I mean, the pool players are heavily coveted there, and especially those two.
The thing is, people might think that's an exaggeration, but it's not, because in the Philippines, pool is right up there as one of the top 3 or 4 sports.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, we played some exhibitions there a couple times and had some trips where we did some things, you know, with an audience, and it was really like a rock concert with armed guards and 4 or 5 hours of autographs, and they keep up with their pool. First time I ever entered the airport there, they had 4 big banners probably about 12, 15 feet high, and one was Johnny, one was Earl, one was Bustamante, and one was Efren, right there in the international airport, Manila. And
another much bigger one in the other hole for you, obviously.
Well, no. I was I was, they thought at first I was probably just carry the bags or whatever, but they learn too quickly. They keep up with it.
Jayson Shaw not able to build on the momentum of the previous rack, scratched off the break. And Johann Chua has gone 5 clear again. It's 7-2. Really good match going on the loser side. We've been keeping an eye on Ko Ping Chung, who's one of the top 10 players in the world rankings now. He's won the 12th rack to level at 6-all with Claudio Cacci. Remember, it's race to 8 in that round. Here on the winner's side, Hunter Lombardo is really giving Albin Ocean a close contest. He's got it back to 5-4. As you can see here, Aloysius Yap, who was 3-0 down, is a few balls away from perhaps making it 3-all against Moritz Neuhausen. Daniel Maciol in front of Duong Kwa Kwang at 4-3. Mark Bijsterbosch starting to pull away. 5-2 now against Andrei Ionescu. Mateusz Sniagotsky on the hill, 8-2 over Naoki Oi. Ko Ping leading Omar Al Shaheen 6-2. Imran Majid, British player now in his 50s, 5-3 up on Dennis Graba. Mieszko Fortunski's on the hill at 8-2 against Thomas Kaplan. And we do have a winner. Wojciech Szewczyk has seen it out at 9-0 against Georgi Georgiev. So Szewczyk, the first player through to single elimination.
He smashed him again. Near the blue two, but doesn't look like really anything to play off of. I think this is a little low percentage, maybe across corner bank. He likes to stay so offensive, but the safety's coming here. You'd like to shave it, right, and come across and just kind of use the 3 as a big blocker. Could come down table as well. And he's a little behind it to be able to shave it and really control, unless he goes behind that. Yeah, the purple and the pink. I think he's going to double bank this towards the top rail with the blue 2 and try and draw behind the 9. Kind of makes sense to me. Kind of sits okay for that shot like this.
We were talking earlier about Shaw doing well in a lot of smaller events this year, but struggling to perform in the big high-profile matchroom tournaments. And it was quite a similar theme really last year. He got to the last 16 here. Knocked out by Joshua Filler, but that was the furthest he got in any of these events in 22. If it continues in that way, Jeremy, and he still isn't doing well in these big high-profile events and he doesn't qualify automatically, could the unthinkable happen and he could miss out on the Mosconi altogether?
I mean, yeah, that could happen. I think it would take some special stuff from some other players to convince a captain to do that. I think Jason's made his argument, you know, in past years for future years in his Mosconi Cup, because it's not like he's played horrible this year. And, you know, you could look at Shane Van Boening, right, and say, he hasn't had quite the results. Now, you have to disregard the difference between, you know, Team USA's dynamic at the moment versus Team Europe's. But, you know, like I said, I think it would take, you know, maybe a Moritz Neuhausen or, you know, a name that's coming along and really show some class and maybe win a big event or maybe a semifinal or two to really take Jayson out of that mix.
Those are all long-term considerations here on this Thursday in Fulda. Jayson Shaw really needs to start producing something to get back into this match. There's a chance to launch that offensive here.
Well, and one thing that's, you know, been a fact in pool is it seems like it's harder for the people that travel the furthest, right? Shane had many troubles traveling abroad and winning titles when he was pretty much dominating the same players every time they came to the U.S. for some 10, 12 years. So Jayson, who now is in Connecticut and the U.S. for some time, a bit more of a travel for him than some of the players, and of course where he originally comes from. The one thing I like about Jayson is for the most part, he kind of understands coming earlier, getting a little more acclimated. Some of the players kind of shock me at times, showing up just the day before the tournament starts, traveling abroad. I never thought twice about doing that whenever I played.
Fine shot there to get on the 4. And if distance travelled is a guide to how well someone's going to do in a tournament, well, then he's bound to win an event next month because it's being played in his own club in Connecticut. And it will be a world ranking event just a few days before the US Open.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that seems to get him, in stroke before that Moscone Cup. He always has a good showing at the International. He's won it a few times, and that East Coast of America seems to sit real well for Jayson.
Yeah, won that International Open last year, beating Victor Zielinski in the final. An event quite similar, really, in nature to this one. And in this European Open, he really needed to win that rack. Played well to take his opportunity there and get back to 7-3 behind. Ko Ping Chung on the hill now, leading Claudio Cacci 7-6. So it's turned around again, that one on the loser's side. And here in winners qualification, Duan Kwa Kwang and Daniel Maciol level again at 4-all. Mark Bijsterbosch 6-2 up on Andrei Ionescu. Ko Ping-yi leading by that score over Omar Al-Shaheen. Alexa Peichel 6-3 in front of Petri Makinen. Max Lechner also leading 6-3 against Francesco Candela. Aloysius Yap has taken 3 in a row now to get back to 3-all against Moritz Neuhausen. Also 3-all between Radoslav Babika and Fedor Gorst. Wu Kun Lin leads Antonius Kakaris 3-2. And a couple more winners to report. Joshua Filler is through. He's beaten Karol Skaversky 9-3. And Mateusz Sniagotsky has advanced as well. What a result that is to beat Naoki Oi, a player of that class, by 9 racks to 2.
Yeah, Oi, who is starting to show more form like he did a couple years ago, where it seemed like he was down on the business end of every event he played, and his opponent there must have played one heck of a match to have that scoreline.
Remember, 32 players will come through from winners qualification. If you lose in this round, you then go into losers qualification round. And you'll be up against someone who's already played at least one match in that. Likely would have to be a couple of matches, wouldn't it?
Yeah, the loser side rounds right now are races to 8, but that loser side qualification goes back to a race to 9.
Yeah, and then everyone who's come through on the winner's side will be drawn at random against someone from the loser's side. And from that point on, it's a fixed bracket. You can plot your path through to the final. And straight knockout all the way to the finish on Sunday. Albin Ocean beating Shane Van Boening to win the inaugural European Open last year. That was a fantastic day, that. The semi-finals and the final and the crowds we had here. Just wonderful to see.
Yeah, I still remember that, Shane making that long rail bank from nowhere and then letting that one long one get away there, or else we would have had a hill finish.
And I just remember seeing two of the best players in the world. They'd met in the world final just a few months previously. You had the big crowd as well. It all had such a big time feel, which is exactly what we're trying to cultivate in the sport now.
Yeah, and this European Open's a big part of it. The German crowds was great. The more unsung, kind of not as well known German players really showed a lot of class, which really adds to the event and of course makes the crowds even better.
And for anyone who's not been here, Fulda is not one of the biggest cities in Germany. It's a little bit out of the way, and the fact that we're able to get crowds of that nature here just says so much about how popular the game is. Imagine if we had an event somewhere like Berlin, the kind of crowds we might have.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course they travel from all over Germany and all over Europe to come play and participate as a fan here at the European Open. But I heard a few nice pool clubs here, so pools going on in Fulda as well.
Back to this match then. Jayson Shaw has got back to 7-3 down.
Can't afford this, and that's the gamble. Sometimes you get a golden break, sometimes a friendly kiss to produce a shot. with the cut break, hard or, you know, one that's somewhat softer. There are some corner pockets and side pockets available for the cue ball.
Hasn't made a single ball off any of his last 3 breaks now.
And we'll see. The 2's in the middle of the table. The 3 looks very difficult to make, if possible at all. But with the 2 being where it's at, good chance he may be able to open that 3-6 kind of mini cluster there. Could come down for the bank. Could play safe off the 3. And maybe it goes in the lower left.
Claudio Cacci has won the 14th rack, so that match against Ko Ping Chung on the loser's side. It's now hill-hill. Ko Ping Han is on the hill now, 7-6 over JJ Fall. Billy Thorpe back to 5-4 behind against Adam Stankovic. That was 5-0 earlier on. Batman qualities from Billy.
Yeah, Billy played a really good match to open this tournament. Won pretty handily and really few mistakes. And his second match didn't really get a shot till it was 5-0. His opponent got lucky and snookered him the first game on a miss and then broke and ran 4.
Just as we say that, Stankovic has gone 2 clear again at 6-4. And Ko Ping Han has now won 8-6 over JJ Fall, so goes through to losers qualification.
Okay, maybe taking on one that was a little more risky. This was thin and also playing it with a little outside English, trying to produce some position on the pink. And Jayson gets out here. 7-4 is very doable. Now the break has got to change for him, or at least you would figure that. He's going to get a little funny here. He's going to have to stun the ball off of a small angle, and when that's the case, speed control can be a little bit, you know, peculiar. You can miss your mark a little bit. Now the right side of the table is very open, so of course the underhit stunning the ball 2 rails is the real problem, but don't think you just got to rip it. Yeah, that should be plenty.
So scratched off the break, but in the long run, it hasn't cost him.
Yeah, I wonder if he changes sides now, maybe on the break. You can't be stubborn. You know, it's one thing if you're not happy the way you hit him, of course, you can, you know, dissect that and, you know, take that into account. But it seemed like the last couple weren't too bad overall, and they've been dry.
And that's the first time in the match that he's won 2 racks in a row.
Now Skylar Woodward on your screen, and he's going to play Stuart Bingham, I believe.
That's right, yeah. He'll be starting very shortly. If you can just see behind us, behind that table, Table 25 is Cledio Kachi and Ko Ping Chung. The match I was talking about that's gone hill.
Yeah, and Cledio, he broke the balls, and we always say we rarely see a break and run hill, and it looks like that's going to stand true there. Keep you updated on that match. Okay, I think he did switch sides. A ball down. Definitely a shot on the blue too, and a nice spread.
Yeah, a couple of balls down off the break, in fact. When he is breaking well, he's one of those players who frequently pots multiple balls at quite a high rate. That's a good sign of how well he's breaking.
Yeah, it's not the norm to see him, miss-hit the rack very often and have too many dry breaks. It's going to happen to everyone. But this break rule, it's just how it is. But I think he did switch sides, and I think that's a smart move.
Just keeping an eye on that hill match on the loser's side. From where I'm standing, it looks as though Ko Ping Chung has fluked the 2 and has a shot at the 3.
Right, little draw stroke here from Jayson. Shouldn't be a problem. Great transition with the stroke there. Easy movement.
And a big transition in the nature of this match. It was looking like a landslide at 7-2. Very different contest now. Shaw back to only a couple behind at 7-5. Alban Ocean has won the 10th rack to go 6-4 up on Hunter Lombardo. There you can see in the background what I was talking about. Ko Ping Chung standing over that 3 ball for some time now, having fluked the 2 in the side. Brother Ko Ping Yi is a couple of racks away from single elimination, leading Omar Al Shaheen 7-3 on the winner's side. Alexa Pechelge now on the hill at 8-3 against Petri Mäkinen. Max Lechner just needs a couple more, 7-4 up against Francesco Candela. And Lucius Jaap has made it 4 in a row now to lead Moritz Neuhausen for the first time at 4-3. Fedor Gorst in a battle, 4-all against Radoslav Babika. Dimitros Lukatos on the hill, 8-4 against Niels Fayen. Mieszko Fortunski has won 9-3 in the all-Polish clash with Thomas Kaplan. Wu Kunlin, world semi-finalist, leads Antonius Kakaris 4-2.
Yeah, youngster you mentioned, just that little setting. Alexis Pechelge, I think he's talk about it all the time. You never know when them young players are going to make another jump, and I kind of feel like he's jumped another level, and he's going to be a dangerous player.
Always a lot of interest in how Pia Filler is getting on in these tournaments. You can see her there, just to the right of the picture. She's going well, level at 3-all with Jonas Kornmesser on the loser's side. Shaw back to 5-7.
And you see him kind of unloading on the rack a bit more. A little more steam into that cue ball. One ball vanishing in the side. Does have a little bit of a look at the blue too, but nothing offensive. Looks like he's going to have to push out. Can't get enough of the 2 to knock it around the table. Well, maybe he's going to take something on here. Definitely doesn't have the entire ball. He would have shot this already, knocking the 2 away and holding behind the pink.
Well, I think you can maybe just about make it out in the background. Ko Ping Chung at the table in that final rack against Cledio Kachi.
Yeah, in no hurry, so probably Something a little tricky there.
And that's Skylar Woodward in the foreground. Not sure whether that's still the warm-up. I think they might actually be into the first rack now against Stuart Bingham.
They are. Yeah, both of them lagged, and Skylar looking to perform a little better than his last match.
We often see it with the snooker players when they make the first crossover. They might get through a couple of matches, but then they get found out when they take on one of the very best names. So that's the test for Stuart Bingham there.
Yeah, everything I saw Stuart do wasn't necessarily always traditional, but it made sense. And tell you what, he came with some really nice shots towards the end of that first win. He's going to pass this back. Interesting to me. I don't think Jayson's going to edge this ball. I really don't. Maybe. Maybe he likes the left side of the 2, coming some 1, 2, 3 rails behind the 9. Maybe drifting off just 2 cushions. A lot of times Jayson's find some other types of shots from these situations, though. Something that has a little bit of security one way or another.
Hard to get a clear view of Ko Ping Chung, but he's on the 7 and looks like he might be playing some audacious 3-ball combination to win the match. If you can see better there, Jeremy. Just the table lighting is actually in my way a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to play the 7 off the 8, get a little action on the 9, leave the 8 there off the 9. Yeah, I like that.
Well, the 9 is still on the table.
Yeah.
But did the 7 go in?
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Held nicely on the 8. Not a total hanger on the 8, but something he should handle. Anytime you're behind the ball, it's kind of a blind pocket and can always be a little tricky. Jayson Shaw with a pretty good effort there on the safety. Nothing easy at all, and has left it somewhat difficult for Johann. Don't think anything offensive.
Ko Ping Chung is going to win this now. He's made the 8. It's been a real effort, this deciding rack. So Cledio Okachi is going to bow out. Ko Ping Chung, now the highest ranked of the Ko brothers, is into the world top 10 after his big win in the Philippines. Pigny has beaten Omar Al Shaheen 9-3. So he's through to single elimination. His two brothers are both a win away from joining him.
Okay, didn't get a ton of draw out of that. I think he expected to get a little closer to that right side pocket. So we'll see what he takes here on the pink 4. Gonna attack for sure. No doubt about that. Can he roll it? Come back down in the position that the cue ball's in now? If he uses a lot of spin, he'll have to shoot the 5 from some distance, and I don't know how you get position on the 6, really. You know, he's made things a bit easier. Is he playing the 9?
Oh, he's gone for it. Not quite.
Yeah.
What's he left?
He's left a very hard cueing and a lot of distance, the 9-ball and cue ball.
Stuart Bingham, you saw there, with an unexpected miss on, I think it's the 7. It's hard to tell with the lighting.
Yeah, both players a little gift in the first 2 games. Skyler was in position. It looked like the first game to clear the table, and obviously made a mistake with Stewart knocking in the 9.
One all in that transatlantic clash between Skylar Woodward and Stuart Bingham.
It's a little in between, not easy to come across, wanting to put that much speed on it, being elevated over the 9, but you don't want to baby it, right? So I think whatever speed you like knocking this ball in, and just kind of work on the 6 from wherever the cue ball ends up. Oh, he's trying to stab this. Wow. I think that was making the shot a bit more difficult, trying to hit down on the cue ball.
It felt like a very big rack because of the situation in the match. The way it's played out has made it seem even more so. And now, a very good chance it's going to go the way of Johann Chua. Got a little awkward from nowhere near the rail with the cue ball, an angle going away from the 8, and possibly the upper right corner is a problem to really work the rock. You can see him not too happy, and could have just stopped the ball and played for a little more angle to move the cue ball up the table and back. And now, I'll tell you, this is funny. Nice applause there for Moritz Neuhausen, tying our match at 4 apiece between him and Aloysius Yap. Referee is actually having a word with both players in that match. Not sure what that's about. Called them both over to speak to them about something.
You know, I could only imagine maybe something to do with their pace of play. It's the only thing I could think of, really. Both guys have been breaking the balls forcefully. And certainly two guys that are never going to cause any problems.
Meanwhile, back here, Chua has run into the 9. Setting up a huge moment here. There was a big rack. He produced some big shots in it. And he's taken a big step towards victory. Having lost the previous 3 racks, Johann Chua has won that one. And he's first to the hill at 8-5. A couple more players through to single elimination tomorrow. Mark Bijsterbosch cruising through 9-2 against Andrei Ionescu of Romania. Alexa Peixelge, a 9-3 winner against Petri Makinen. Max Lechner on the brink, leading 8-4 against Francesco Candela. Imran Majid also needs just one more. He's 8-5 up on Denis Graba. Dimitris Loukatos on the hill at 8-6 against Niels Fayen. Fedor Gorst only just ahead of Radoslav Babika at 5-4. Wu Kun Lin leads Antonius Kakaris 5-3. 1-1 between Tobias Bongers and Mohamed Soufi. Dimitri Yungo was taken the first against Kostas Kukiadakis. And Elliot Sanderson also leading 1-0 against Mario He. On the loser's side, I was telling you that Pia Filler was level at 3-3 with Jonas Kornmesser. And the Austrian has won 3 in a row since then, so Kornmesser just looking for 2 more to advance. 1 will do for Chua.
Yeah, this cue ball is going to get up above the 2. It doesn't appear so. So maybe we get another look at Jayson Shaw, with a safety most likely coming here for Chua. The 7's really kind of impeding any cue ball movement up the table and making the safety possibly a bit easier. Looks like he's going to play to bank the 2, maybe. Is he looking at trying to make this, really? Hard to judge this bank when you're so close to it, and he's got to do a little something to surrender the cue ball to get position on the 3. I don't know. It's a dangerous scoreline to be going for, I think, a hair of a low percentage shot.
Max Lechner, last year's US Open runner-up, is also through to the final 64. It's all over at 9-4 against Francesco Candela of Italy.
He's trying to bank it and go forward off the 7 to try and hold for a little safety also. If he misses, this is a big roll here. And I thought it was a pretty low percentage shot in a lot of ways. Look, if he makes that, he's trapped himself on the red 3, so maybe the aggression got the best of him, but a lot of luck there after a missed 2 ball. Moritz Neuhausen has gotten dead out of line on this 9 ball at 4-4. And Aloysius Schaap. That can be watched on Matchroom's Multisport YouTube channel.
Moritz Neuhausen now leads Aloysius Schaap 5-4.
All right, banking the 3 back up table, sliding the cue all over. Ooh, narrowly missing the kiss, and that was a pretty routine safety not to hit it, and Jason would be a little upset about that.
Hunter Lombardo told me at the Spanish Open that he's planning everything this year about making a real push to try and force his way into the American Mosconi Cup team. He's also putting in a great effort to force his way into single elimination here. He's close to 7-6 behind against the defending champion Alban Ocean.
Well, Hunter, a very consistent player, always has been. I think he's just kind of upped his game in some other ways.
I know he's been giving Stuart Bingham some instruction this week on how to play 9-ball.
All right, is he shooting at this? To the upper right? I don't know where he's going with the cue ball to get shape on the pink 4, but I think he is. Look at that, he killed it for the rail first. This isn't terrible, it is up the rail a little bit, but if you're going to go for those types of shots, right, you can't be so upset with this position. And it looks like he's wanting to slow roll this in, which I think makes it a little more difficult. That way he can hold. May have fluked it. No, it's going to get to the side rail. Jayson Shaw still in this match.
Chua really backed himself on the previous shot. Just a fraction away from getting position. And the way he wanted to, if he had, he could have been potting the winning balls by now. As it is, it's one last chance for Jayson Shaw to launch the recovery he needs. So Shaw just survives. He's won 4 of the last 5 racks now. Still needs to win the next 3 in a row. He trails Johann Chua 8-6. Dimitris Loukatos, who made such a name for himself with that run to the quarterfinals of the UK Open in London earlier this summer, is into the final 64 after a fine 9-6 win over Niels Fyen. Still 7-6 for Alban Ocean against Hunter Lombardo. This one is turning into one of the matches of the round. Moritz Neuhausen just ahead of Aloysius Yap at 5-4. 6-all between Duong Kwok Hwang and Daniel Maciol. Imran Majid still looking for one more. Leads Dennis Graba 8-6. Radislav Babika giving Fedor Gorst a real fight. 5-all in that one. Wu Kun Lin, a couple ahead of Antonius Kakaris at 5-3. Stuart Bingham has won 2 racks in a row to lead 3-1 now against Skylar Woodward. Dimitri Youngo was 2-0 up on Kostas Kukiadakis. Tobias Bongers and Mohamed Soufi level at 1-all. Elliot Sanderson going really well, 3-0 up against Mario He, who was a semi-finalist here last year. David Al-Kadi just starting his match against Simon Corral. Shaw back to 8-6.
And he's breaking better every rack, and really unfortunate with the 2 near the pocket. Cue ball gets kissed and nestled right behind the 9. So he's going to have to use all his wit and figure out somewhere to push the cue ball out. Maybe over to the side rail where he's kind of standing now, leaving some type of kick shot on the blue 2.
Yeah, just asking for the racking device to be removed.
A little surprising there. It must be a little touchy, the push out.
Got to keep your concentration when you're doing that. Looks like a simple task, but when you're placing a ball and you don't want to move anything inadvertently, you got to keep your wits about you.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the job for me. I'm a coordinated guy. If you throw me a ball, all's good, but when it comes to the small stuff, not so good.
Fine motor skills.
Yeah, that's right. I was always jealous. I could never, kind of twirl the pin, on the fingers and stuff like all the kids at school could. I think he's got to push out to the right side rail over here and push out for some type of kick. He's going to leave the bottom half of the 2.
Albin Ocean, the defending champion, has made it to the hill, but still not out of the woods. Hunter Lombardo only trails by a couple at 8-6. Pia Filler's got one back, 6-4 behind now against Jonas Kornmesser on the loser's side.
I'm not sure what he's really sizing up here. Oh, he fluked to 7. Wow. Tell you, I guess he was trying to run the cue ball a couple rails up the table, trying to get behind the red 3, I think. Caught the 2 way too thick. That's why it caught the purple.
Good news for you, JJ. Billy Thorpe has won. He's beaten Adam Stankovic 8-7. He was 5-0 down early on, wasn't he?
And 7-5 also.
Yeah. And of course, Thorpe has been on multiple Mosconi teams in the past. He won that smaller ranking event in the States earlier this year, so he's got a great chance of qualifying and getting in automatically this time.
Yeah. Billy again back out here where he should be and where he wants to be. Now 5-5 with Newhausen and Yap. Newhausen, after a pretty easy missed ball from Yap, returned the favor with another missed ball. And Yap got that 10th game, and looks like it's going to be a really thrilling match coming down the end. Oh, look at this. He's going to really power this. Watch. Try and arc the cue ball, looks like. Yeah.
That was Tony Drago we saw in the front row with the face mask on. Out of the tournament now, but still here to watch. Why is he wearing that?
I'm not sure. I've seen him all week, talked to him several times. Didn't notice the mask prior.
I did see him wearing it yesterday, just after his match. I know he's had serious health problems, so maybe he's still concerned about the COVID situation.
Well, he's just so solid with the long ball. Not saying that one was super difficult, but definitely missable, especially. He's let a couple little things get away after having that big lead.
Imran Majid still going strong after all these years. He'll be here tomorrow. Impressive win over Dennis Graba of Estonia by 9 racks to 6. Another British player still clinging on here. Johann Chua, hoping to bring an end to it in a few moments' time. This is Skylar Woodward. I believe this is to get back to 3-2 behind. And Stuart Bingham. So it seems that Jayson Shaw will have to beat Zhao Griot on the loser's side to make it through to the final 64. He battled back well in this match. Trailed 7-2 at one stage. Got it all the way back to 8-6. But all in all, it's been a pretty accomplished performance from Johann Chua. The World Cup winner will be here for the final 64. He's beaten Jayson Shaw by 9 racks to 6.